it's a unique ability to bring together the community in a format that that lets people let loose.
Hey, this is John Bernatovich, president and founder of Willory, and I'm continuing on our video chats, and I'm joined today by Aaron Koles in business development at Ultimate Software. As one of the organizers for DisruptHR Columbus, we're continuing the momentum that we've created around this awesome event that we're bringing to the Columbus area, which regretfully, due to the COVID pandemic outbreak, we had to put a pause on the actual in-person event, but we're working tirelessly to figure out alternative ways to bring you relevant content. And with Aaron and his support of DisruptHR Columbus as a gold sponsor for our event, I wanted to spend a few minutes just chatting with him about how he's doing, what's going on, and what he's hearing in the community. So Aaron, welcome, and thank you for being a part of our discussion today.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You got it. So I see you're working from home, and obviously, as you can see, we got dueling jerseys behind us in our backdrop. Yours looks cooler than mine does, but I'm just curious who's keeping you company at home today, and as you're working from home, what's that been like for you, Aaron?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a change, just from a day-to-day cadence. So, I live down south of Dayton, out in the country a little bit. So we're thankful for that, where you got open spaces. And yeah, spend the time at home with my wife and my son Cameron, who's 9. So we've been doing, a lot of things, treehouse building and hair cutting and all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, cool. Looks like you got that hair cutting done just right, which is perfect. I love it. With the 9-year-old, I know my son and daughter, the last day of school technically is on Friday, but I came home today from work and told me about the fact that she was actually done. All of her assignments are in, and I think she's officially on summer break. So I know my kids have adjusted pretty well, been adapting to the home online school. So hopefully the same for your son.
Yeah, good enough. We can't complain. The teacher's doing a phenomenal job, something they've never had to do before, which is, I guess, kind of a theme of today. But yeah, he's doing okay.
Yeah, awesome. So Aaron, tell me a little bit about yourself and your role that you hold there at Ultimate Software.
Sure. Well, first, I just wanted to thank, you and thank the Willory team. I mean, all of the phenomenal content and keeping this thing chugging along is, I know, time and resources, and just being a sponsor, but more importantly, being part of, the HR community and the Disrupt community. I think people appreciate it, and pulled off the virtual event. Of course, everyone's hoping for, looking forward to the live event. So, thank you for that. Me, I've been in this community for 10 years, the last 7 with Ultimate Software. So super proud and, blessed of that to, to be with Ultimate. And I represent Ultimate Software as kind of as a liaison for organizations in Ohio and Kentucky who want to explore a potential partnership in leveraging our solution, UltiPro. So I've got a couple of peers and friends, Tara Frank out of Columbus and Dan Cundiff out of Cleveland, who kind of do the same thing as me here in the Ohio market.
Cool. Yeah, no, and thank you for your support and the kind words. When this all went down, it was one of those things where it's like, oh boy, what are we going to do? We have an event with 300 people roughly, right in the middle of the state of Ohio during an outbreak of something we've never experienced, at least in our lifetime. And I only knew one thing, was that this thing had momentum, it had teeth. It was a concept that I know many people have enjoyed the experience. I know you're a speaker in Cincinnati and participated in the event quite a bit. So there was kind of this need in the community. At the same time, everybody was struggling with the adjustment of remote work and over Zooming in some regards. So I only knew to continue on the dialogue and communication, because I think the HR has been impacted in very unique ways, and being able to provide some color and insight. I just had a recent talk with one of our presenters who shared a really fascinating concept of how she looks at human resources as a positive role model and turning, kind of lemons into lemonade.
Yeah.
and then doing it in a way to create clarity. Just the way she articulated that in a conversation, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to take that with me for the rest of my life. And so just those little anecdotal points that can come along the way. I just didn't know any different, right? I just thought I'd continue down that path and do it in a technically unique way that I think is not unique anymore. So thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, you guys have done well.
So tell me about it in your, so calling on and working with and having customers that are primarily in the human resources field. What are you hearing from them as it relates to the last few months have meant to them and how they're looking forward?
Yeah, it's complex, you know, and I think, you know, some of them have not heard from, and, you know, and that's normal, you know, that's okay. I think across the board, you know, we're just seeing an entire spectrum of organizational health and trying then to, you know, carefully and empathetically be a resource in any way that we can. And, you know, we see organizations that continue to march forward and kind of our business as usual, ones that are absolutely devastated. And then uniquely some, you know, that are growing in the distribution space and the manufacturing space. So, you know, having a nimble path to, you know, continue to be a resource, continue to be an advocate, but, you know, most importantly, I think just be a friend and be a member of the HR community is important. And I hope that, you know, all of my, you know, peers in the industry feel the same way, because I think that's the way to be respectful of what's going on today. We've been doing some kind of fireside chats or coffee chats or beer chats, whatever you want to call them. And we've been bringing together HR leaders that may not know each other from similar industries. And it was a concept that we introduced probably about 6 weeks ago. And I've gotten a ton of value out of it personally, just like you said, getting into the mind of the HR professional. And, you know, we're hearing all sides of it. So they're maybe working from home, maybe their business is devastated, maybe they're doing okay, and all types of workers too. So they're wearing so many hats. We did one a couple of weeks ago with the restaurant community, obviously impacted greatly. And what I kept hearing was the resiliency in their voice. You know, the idea of we're going to take what is happening today and we're going to accept it and we're going to compartmentalize it. And that really hit me hard, because they do have the opportunity to shine, they in a way that they've never had before. And I think that communication with employees, leveraging tools and technology that they haven't before, making decisions and almost being pragmatic about it, taking steps to say, like, well, how are we going to upskill? How are we going to maybe even improve our talent? How are we going to deal with compensation? You know, these are really important things. And, you know, overall, I think it's inspiring and amazing that has been my general feel of the HR community in the last couple months.
Yeah, that's neat. Creating that community. It's a great idea to pull those similar industries together, those that are impacted, probably feeling a lot of the same things, maybe the fact that you have that fellowship with a colleague, or maybe you might view them as a competitor that's probably dealing with many of the same things that you are. Yeah. And knowing as a partner of Ultimate and seeing the resources that you've been able to provide into the community and back to, you know, firms like ours as well as your clients. I'm just curious as to all the things that you're doing. And as you mentioned, I really appreciate the way you articulated that, just the passionate concern for your customers and your prospects and your partners and adding value in this unique way. Is there anything that you've seen advice-wise or things that your customers or your partners or the people you're working with, Aaron, your prospective clients, that gravitates to them now? Like, hey, I saw you do this, or I heard this thought leader from your team provide this insight that you see HR really kind of running toward and saying, oh, that's a great idea, or I hadn't thought of that before.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple things. So I think the ability to be nimble and to evolve and not be resistant to it is, and I wouldn't call that advice, but that's what I keep seeing over and over. I mean, I've seen people change their business models in a matter of days in Central Ohio. And my little sister runs or owns a couple tutoring centers in the Washington, D.C. area for children. And she has a phenomenal business. She's hustling 24/7, is a phenomenal educator. And I mean, she just shut her doors, small business, low cash flow, and had to transition all of these kids to virtual learning. And then, this is optional, additional learning on top of the kids transitioning, to virtual learning from their primary school or education. And she just kind of took the punches and did it. And she was able to retain like 80% of her clients.
Wow.
And so I think that just, I continue to tell that story. Of course, we're working with larger organizations, but that's what I see really make the difference, and able to compartmentalize what we can't control. And, then these folks that are saying, hey, I'm going to change A, B, and C. I'm going to really listen to the voice of my employee. I'm going to, continue to communicate with them and make sure I know what's important to them and not just assume. And, then I think most importantly, some of that is making sure that they're taking care of themselves. And, some of the resources and events we've done have had nothing to do with Ultimate Software or UltiPro. We're doing a executive chef cooking demo and, stuff like that, just to let's get a little relief in here and make sure that we fill our cup a little bit, because they're pouring out so much organizationally as well as at home, I'm sure.
Yeah. I don't know if in business school there was a class on resilience or adaptability, right? I think as a nature of human character, and in some regards, survival for your business, or in some cases, obviously for your life in this unique circumstance, you had no choice but to be resilient and adapt and adjust and continue to move forward. And I think that's probably the part of this that's been the most unique, is that there's not been any precedence to this globally, and then not having an end date or an actual deadline of when this is going to be over. We're used to deadlines and seasons ending or quarters closing out or whatever the case is. And this thing is weird, right? In that form and fashion. So I guess a good segue from weird to disruptive. I know as a former speaker in Cincinnati, and also as I know Ultimate has been a huge sponsor of a variety of different DisruptHR communities. We're so appreciative of what Ultimate has done for this particular event, not only with your financial support, but also by providing interest in the concept. So just curious, Aaron, about that experience that you have personally, and kind of your enthusiasm of bringing things here to Columbus.
Yeah, the Disrupt event in Cincinnati, I spoke at, it feels like decades ago, but very cool experience, and that vibe in the room is something to look forward to, and I'm certain that we're going to have that in Columbus. I spend a lot of time in Columbus and love the city, love the people there. So I just think the concept in general, I'm a huge, Jennifer fan. And from the first time I heard about it, it's a unique ability to bring together the community in a format that, that lets people let loose and kind of share what's on their heart, share what's on their mind. It's a little creative, and of course it's fun. And, I think most of us are fun folks in this industry. And so that's why I truly appreciate it. And it kind of goes along with, the idea in the technology industry of disrupting and, doing things differently and looking at things different ways that could improve, our current state. And so we're just always excited and always thankful to be a part of it.
Sure. Yeah, no, and we really appreciate your help and support. And speaking of that, so we have decided, and I'll put this out here to the community, that on June 25th, kind of at the tail end of the day, kind of a virtual happy hour, we're going to do another roundtable, but this time we're going to showcase our sponsors and a representative from those sponsors that have wonderful insight to share about the community, about HR, about the disruption that's happening. And the sponsors are, without them, we can't have the event. And so we thought it was a unique way to showcase people like Aaron and others from our community. So we're looking forward to that. Look out for details on that. We'll get that link established here quickly. But Aaron, I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm thankful that you're continuing to stay safe and well. And I wish you nothing but the best and continued success as we navigate through these next days, weeks, and upcoming months. And we'll continue to stay in touch. And I appreciate you being a part of our video chat today.
All right. Thanks so much, John. Appreciate you.
You got it. Take care, Aaron. We'll see you.
We'll see you.